couple of players? Because there might be, Marky, you have six available slots for overseas players too. A name we discussed just now, Cameron Green. Will he be in that 10 to 15 CR bracket?
Definitely. I mean, there's no reason why he'll not be because he's certainly a hot topic from a very long time. People are discussing him. But the only concern which franchises, including KKR, would have is on his fitness. So if you do overpay him, if you pay him even something like a 25 crore, would he even be available? And to replace him with some other player would be a disaster because he won't get such quality among the unsold players. So that will be a problem. If the fitness aspect is ruled out and if, we hope and we can assure that he's fit, I do see that Green will cross the 20 crore bracket, not just the 10-15 bracket, and maybe the most expensive player of the auction as well. And KKR might buy back, I say with a heavy heart, Venkatesh Iyer. I mean, I'm not a very big fan of him with due respect to his abilities, but I think KKR would look to buy him back for half the price they got him in the previous auction. So I think if you sum those up, I think 30 crore would be gone just there, and maybe
Okay,
not
so
Russell. I believe
you
they'll buy
still
back
want the
Iyer.
Venkatesh Iyer in your side, but in the less of budget. So what does he bring to the table apart from his batting? I want to know.
Well, I think that's the only thing he brings for now. I mean, I'm not sure how much fit he is with the ball. I've heard that he's back to bowling in domestic cricket as well. If he does that, he was a pretty good bowler, a pretty decent all-round option for that
India
matter,
bowling,
if
yeah.
he's fit enough. So I think Venkatesh Iyer would come and people, rate him high for his clutch performances in the knockouts. But I believe that you only make knockout performances if you reach the knockouts. I would prefer players who would get me to the knockouts rather than performing there. So if Venkatesh Iyer learns to perform even in the league stages, I would be pretty happy if he does it with the bat. Not maybe as a leadership role just yet, otherwise they would have looked at him last year itself. So I think Venkatesh Iyer, the batsman, has lost himself somewhere. He needs to find that back before getting captaincy. So I think Venkatesh Iyer, the batter at number three, number four, is what KKR might be looking for,
So
and hence the
you
buyback.
have also left a few overseas wicketkeeper openers at the top of the order. Is Devon Conway amongst your list to fill that void because he has been released by CSK? You have a Jamie Smith there. You have a Rachin Ravindra there too. Are the Kiwis in your list?
Well, I think Rachin Ravindra again, he doesn't come with keeping, and because there are not too many Indian keeper options, I think buying Rachin would not totally make much sense for me. And same with Conway, though Conway gives you keeping, not a very fluent keeper, but he does give you some keeping. But again, Conway is more of an anchor. He's not that dasher, which I think KKR misses at the top of the order because we already have a bunch of anchors. We have Rahane who can, after the power play certainly slows down versus spin, so you can treat him as an anchor. Ankush Raghuvanshi is also an anchor for that matter. So I think we need a dasher. I would perhaps name someone like a Finn Allen, though I know he's inconsistent, but he's someone who brings the same kind of spice which Phil Salt brings at the top of the order and also keeping. So I think Finn Allen would be someone I would look at for now.
I can definitely see that sadness in your face whenever you talk about a dasher at the top of the order. And you said at the beginning of the show that the mess we have created in last season needs to be rectified. Phil Salt would have fixed all the problems for you at the top of the order, be it with the gloves, be it with the blistering stars he used to give with Sunil Narayan. But middle order, a few experienced players are there. I can see a Glenn Maxwell possibly there for you. Matisha Patirana, if you need that experience, are they in your list for experience?
Well, Maxwell is someone KKR did bid, in 2021, if I'm not wrong, in a mini auction, but they did win. They didn't win the winning, the bidding battle over there. So maybe the Aussie effect might tempt Maxwell in KKR, but I still believe that CSK have a greater chance to get him because Dhoni likes, a spin bowling, off spin bowling, middle order, all rounders. He used Moeen Ali previously, so maybe Maxwell is headed there. I think KKR would look for Livingston. I mean, previously he
Oh,
also played for a Knight Riders franchise. He played for the Abu Dhabi Knight Riders, if I'm not wrong.
okay.
So I think that effect would actually bring Livingston to KKR. They even bid for him previously 3 years ago. So I think Livingston may be someone who's headed for KKR, maybe filling in that Russell role. Though he's not a pacer, but an all-rounder who can bowl leg and off spin in the middle order. I think Livingston is someone KKR might look at.
And what about the death overs? What about the seamers? Because you've got, as I said, Harshid Rana, Webb of Aurora. You've got a couple of decent Indian seamers, but you have options of going for overseas. And is Patirana in the likes of things or some other one? Jacob Duffy from New Zealand. Is he there in your list?
Definitely. I named three pacers whom I believe KKR might look for. Maybe two out of them they may be successful in buying as well. One would be Matt Henry because he has recently
Fabulous.
performed very well all over the world, and he can bowl you at the power play. I think ever since we lost Stark, we need a proper power play bowler. Weber can't be your only power play bowling option. I think that Matt Henry would be that spearhead. We couldn't get Shami from a trade, or even neither is he in the auction. So I think Matt Henry would give something similar, and he can also bowl an over or two at the death. So Matt Henry, maybe to back him up, or as a front choice, the number one T20 bowler in the world, Jacob Duffy. He could also be an option. Not experienced in the IPL, but he's again a bowler who can bowl at all phases, the power
Height
play and
will
also at the
give
death.
a huge factor. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something might maybe KKR might look. And even if you remember the fact that they signed Saudi as the bowling coach, so the Kiwi effect could certainly bring in someone like Duffy or Henry or both, and Pathirana, because KKR do love bowlers who can bowl a bit differently. They like mystery spinners, they like slingy actions. They bid for Nuwan Tushara in the past,
Yeah.
so maybe they might be tempted to bid for Pathirana as well. But again, Pathirana comes with that injury tag with him. We need to ask his physios before making a bid. That's what I think KKR would wisely do. And depending on the price tag and his fitness, maybe Pathirana in this mix with a Varun Chakravarti and Narayan would make them a deadly combo if he's fit.
Absolutely. And recently you definitely saw the test match between India and South Africa at the Eden Gardens. And if you are Abhishek Nair and if you see that kind of a surface in a test match, you're definitely sitting in a personal meeting with Sujan Mukherjee and saying, I need this kind of a surface at the Eden Gardens too during the IPL. If that is so, are you changing a combination, going back to the old days where Gautam Gambhir used to put a short leg for Mahendra Singh Dhoni coming out to back? Are you going for a spin track of 140, 150 being a winning score? Or you think that no, the way Eden Gardens has played the last couple of years, giving you thrillers of 200 plus scores, you're going towards there?
Well, I am a guy who doesn't like 200, 250 scores. I believe that T20 should be a game which is gettable. Always scoring those kind of scores and getting battered for the same in the second innings is not something I really like. But it's a two-edged sword, because KKR in the past had players who could play spin. Someone like Nitish Rana, someone like Shreyas Iyer. But after what we saw in Mulanpur, we were 70 for one, and then we became
Correct.
75 for 7 or 8 because there was a bit of grip and turn in the Mulanpur wicket. So if you make a spinny track, our batters should also know how to play spin, and it starts with the captain. Rahane struggles against spin big time after the power play. So if we don't have spin enforcers in the middle order, we don't have a Klassen, we don't have a Shreyas Iyer, we don't have a Nitish Rana, and with people like Venkatesh Iyer, if we look to buy him back again, I think our middle order would be in total doldrums. So we do need someone who can play spin well. We talked about Jamie Smith, he can play spin well, but again, I heard that he's not maybe eligible for the auction because he didn't put his name in the previous one. If they convince BCCA and a rule or two is strict, then maybe he's in the auction. I think he'll be in KKR's hit list because he's a keeper. He can open, he can even play in the middle order if needed. But you do need players who play spin well, and it also starts with looking at people among the Indians. Otherwise, if you make a spin track, it only makes it worse for us.
Absolutely, definitely makes worse for you. But you said about the captain, and I come back to you. How has been your thoughts on the performance Ajinkya Rahane, the captain, has showed you last season, finishing at eighth, winning just 5 games out of 14, ending with 12 points? Not good enough because KKR is known to finish in at least the top 5 or 6. Your thoughts, at least? Do you continue with Rahane or you see somebody else? If yes, who is it?
Well, it's not like we want to continue with Rahane. We are forced to continue with Rahane because we didn't get any trade deal with the KL Rahul. We didn't manage to allure Sanju Samson either. People heard. I've been hearing that KKR tried for someone like Nishan Kishan as well. Of course, those are unconfirmed rumors. So because of the problem that we have, we don't have a proper leader available in the auction as well. We couldn't manifest a trade as well. I think we'll be forced to keep Rahane as a leader. If you want to look at a very, very left field choice, I think if you look at the auction, someone like a Faf du Plessis, is he available in the auction? Would you want a 41-year-old overseas quota taking player as an opener and captain? Again, that could be an option. Another left
That
field
will
thought could
waste
be
an overseas opportunity
an
in the end of the
overseas
day.
slot, especially when you don't have an Indian keeper. I think wasting an overseas slot would be a problem. If you want, you could even think of Steven Smith again, the Aussie connection with Watson. Maybe he may be looked at by KKR, but again, those are all left field choices. What I feel is, of course, this is a very wild prediction, is because we do know that the trade window is back open after the retention. So there is a possibility that you could trade a player even now until the auction happens. So we never know if KKR, with the kind of 64 crore purse they have, who knows, they're saving it for a mega trade in the coming days, as an all cash deal. So if
Anything
that
possible.
happens, KL Rahul or someone, just guessing, hoping as a fan, if that can happen, KL Rahul sorts a lot of problems. As a keeper, as a captain, as an opener, he's three in one. So if anything, any magic from Abhishek Nair, Venki Mysore and company happens, I think going in with a lesser purse, but a KL Rahul in your side would be what KKR would ideally need. Otherwise, we have to continue with Rahul.
KL Rahul did not have a good test match at the Eden Gardens, so he will think a little bit about it. But it's a red ball versus a white ball. KL Rahul comes to KKR. All the plannings of the Delhi Capitals will be underwaters, to be honest. But that's all you have in terms of the Rahane thing, and you feel confident because you are certainly there to dictate terms for the Kolkata Knight Riders. But what about the predicted 11? As of now, what does the 11 look like for the Kolkata Knight Riders? This is what is in your screen, Orko. Sunil Narayan, without a doubt, is there as your opener, but who partners him? As of now, number two remains a blank for me. That's where a wicketkeeper comes in, maybe an overseas. Ajinkya Rahane at 3, Ankush Raghuvanshi at 4, Rinku Singh at 5. Number 6, who takes the Russell spot? At number 6, it's an empty. Number 7, Ramandeep Singh. Number 8, I feel an overseas seeming all-rounder comes into there. Harshit Rana, Varun Chakravarti and Vaibhav Arora are the three other bowlers. Are you agreeing with me? Any changes? Are you putting aside a Weber Warren and want a better experienced bowler in that spot?
Well, I think there are not too many in the auction either. So I think Weber should be back maybe as an impact player. And I think we'll get an overseas pacer, maybe a Kiwi or an Aussie for that matter. There are options, there's a Ben Shears, as we talked about, Jacob
Mm-hmm.
Duffy, there's Matt Henry, I'm sorry. Mark is the one who is in WWE, Matt Henry, and then Patirana again. Patirana, he comes with his problems of injury. He's not someone who bowls in the power play. But I think KKR recently tried for Ellis in a trade, as reported by Crick Info. And if that
True.
is true, then a bowler like Ellis is something Patirana also is, a middle overs operator, a death bowling option as well. So with the kind of slingy action and unpredictability company, Patirana could be one. But I still believe that we need to look at Henry or Duffy a little more purely because we need someone in the power play and not Weber Aurora alone. So at the top, definitely keeping an overseas keeping opener is what I would want. Maybe like Finn Allen. If Jamie Smith is available, then
Or
Jamie
anybody
Smith.
else.
Definitely, or anybody else, maybe a Jordan Cox as well. If Josh Inglis is available, I think KKR should pounce on him because he can play spin well, he can
But
bat
I'm
anywhere.
hearing that Josh Inglis is not available for the majority part of the
Yeah,
season. So that's the reason
he's
why
not
they
available, but he's not available. But how I look at it is, he'll be available for the next season at least. So if you just keep him and not lose him to another auction, I think that would totally make sense. Maybe get two overseas keepers, use the first one like a Finn Allen, and keep Josh Inglis for next year. So I think that's what
yeah,
I would look at.
that could be a very good thought process. But at the moment, I think decent side, not very good, not very bad. But if you have a good auction with the amount you have of 64.3 CR, you should be good enough to the into the tournament for your fourth IPL title. At the moment, out of 10, how much do you rate your retention squad?
Well, the retentions, I would rate them an 8. Of course, they took some bold calls. I'm pretty happy that they look beyond Russell. I mean, not as a fan, but if you look at
Yeah,
it as an
understandable.
analytical prospect,
Understandable.
yeah, as an analytical prospect, we had to say goodbye to him at some point of time. Maybe they may buy him back, but if they buy him back cheaply, I'll be happier. But otherwise, I don't see him really being brought back. I see him going to CSK, to be very honest, if I had to make a prediction. We even saw a story put up by AR Srikanth. He was ex KKR analyst. Now he's with CSK. He put a story and used a song, about Dre Ras. I mean, Dr. Dre was a rapper. He used a song on him. So people are, speculating on it. So I think Russell's headed to CSK. Someone like a Livingston maybe is headed to KKR. KKR loves him. And maybe even Cameron Green, for that matter, perhaps will be headed to CSK, taking the big shoes of Russell. So if you look at the retention, I'm happy that they took some bold calls. Venkatesh Iyer was pretty obvious, and overall an 8 out of 10. But again, the auction is what decides a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Auction definitely decides of plenty of things for the Kolkata Knight Riders. 8 out of 10, you think. Russell going to CSK is certain, but I don't think so because CSK, Russell playing spin may not be a good thing, but only time will say because CSK also have a very good budget. That's all we have. Thank